Good morning everyone. Today we'll be discussing about power sharing. We have already started this chapter yesterday. Power sharing means sharing of power, right? Sharing of responsibilities among different levels of government so that things can be administered properly, right? And also power sharing is the very basic feature of democracy. Power sharing is done to ensure that there is no misuse of power. We have also studied about what actually power sharing is. That is, a democratic rule involves sharing power with those affected by its exercise. Power sharing ensures that people have the right to be consulted and have equal participation in the government. In a democracy, each individual has a say in governance through their elected representatives. Then we had shared about Belgium. Now, in Belgium, the case was that there were two groups in majority. One was your Dutch speaking and other was your French speaking. French speaking community was only 40% of the population, but still they were in power, right? They were dominating other ethnic groups. Your Dutch speaking were 59% of the population, right? And 1% were your German speaking. But still, Dutch speaking was not in power. What was the reason? The reason was your French society. They were economically and educationally strong, and Dutch community was still struggling. That is why your French speaking people, they dominated Dutch speaking people. But slowly and slowly, when Dutch speaking people began to rise in economic standards and in education, right? Even they wanted equal hold in power. They wanted an equal hold in government, and this led to a number of conflicts in Belgium. But what Belgium did was commendable. Belgium divided the power between these two ethnic groups equally so that it could avoid any kind of clashes in future, right? Belgium went in accommodation, means both the communities were given equal share of power. Now let's talk about Sri Lanka. What was the case in Sri Lanka? Now this is the ethnic composition, linguistic structure of Sri Lanka. In majority are Sinhala speaking, in minority are Tamil speaking. Now if we talk about Sinhala speaking community, they are either Buddhist or Christians. If we talk about minority Tamil speaking, they are Indian Tamils and they are Sri Lankan Tamils, right? What is the difference between Sri Lankan Tamil and Indian Tamil? Indian Tamil are the ones whose forefathers, they have gone as plantation workers in Sri Lanka during British rule and they had settled down there. Sri Lankan Tamils are the people who originally belong to Sri Lanka, right? Now your Indian Tamils and Sri Lankan Tamils are particularly Christians, Hindus and Muslims. Sri Lanka is an island nation, just a few kilometers off the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. It has about 2 crore people, about the same as in Haryana. Like other nations in the South Asia region, Sri Lanka has a diverse population, which I have already discussed. I have discussed about the diverse population of Sri Lanka. The major social groups are the Sinhala speakers and the Tamil speakers. Among Tamils, there are two subgroups. Tamil natives of the country are called Sri Lankan Tamils. The rest, whose forefathers came from India as workers during colonial period, are called Indian Tamils. Sri Lankan Tamils are concentrated in the north and east of the country. Most of the Sinhala speaking people are Buddhist, while most of the Tamils are Hindus or Muslims. There are about 7% Christians who are both Tamil and Sinhala. Now let's talk about majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. What actually Sri Lanka did? Sri Lanka had went for majority, right? The majority people, the Sinhala speaking community formed the government and they developed policies which only benefited Sinhala speaking community. They have completely neglected the minority communities in Sri Lanka. and that's what gave rise to civil war. The minority communities, they began to revolt, and often there were clashes between the majority and minority speaking communities. And still, this condition exists in Sri Lanka. Why? Because Sri Lanka didn't went for accommodation like Belgium. It went for majoritarianism, right? 74% Sinhala speaking were the one who were ruling the country, right? They were developing policies which only supported Sinhala speaking community, which only gave preferences to Sinhala people. Rest were neglected, and when rest were neglected, they began to revolt, and this revolt led to the civil war. Civil war means the revolt which is led within a country, right? Clashes between two groups of the same country. Sri Lanka emerged as an independent country in 1948. The Sinhala community was in the majority, so they had formed the government. They also followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. These measures taken by the government gradually increased the feeling of alienation among the Sri Lankan Tamils. Sri Lankan Tamils felt that constitution and government policies denied them equal political rights, discriminated against them in getting jobs and other opportunities, and ignored their interest, due to which the relationship between Sinhala and Tamil communities became poor. Sri Lankan Tamils launched parties and struggles for the recognition of Tamil as an official language, for regional autonomy and equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs. But their demand was repeatedly denied by the government. The distress between the two communities turned into widespread conflict and turned into a civil war. As a result, thousands of people of both the communities have been killed. Many families were forced to leave the country as refugees, and many more lost their livelihoods. The civil war ended in 2009 and caused a terrible setback to the social, cultural, and economic life of the country. Now, what we have learned from Belgium and Sri Lanka. Both countries are democracies, but they dealt differently with the concept of power sharing. Where in Belgium, it went for power sharing between both the ethnic groups, but in Sri Lanka, they went for majoritarianism. Belgium went for accommodation. Sri Lanka went for majoritarianism. In Belgium, the leaders have realized that the unity of the country is possible only by respecting the feelings and interests of different communities and region. This resulted in mutually acceptable arrangements for sharing power. Sri Lanka shows that if a majority community wants to force its dominance over others and refuses to share power, it can undermine the unity of the country. Now, why is power sharing desirable? Right? We'll be studying about it in the next lecture. Meanwhile, all of you will go through both the cases of Belgium and Sri Lanka. Right? You'll study about Belgium, which went for accommodation, and you will write about Sri Lanka also, which went for majoritarianism. Just thoroughly go through both the slides and understand the differences as well. Right? And if any query is there, do contact me on WhatsApp group. Thank you.